I'm your host, Donna Cates, and each week we'll dive into powerful stories, expert strategies, and practical tools to help you take charge of your financial future. Whether you're planning for retirement, navigating a divorce, or simply looking to build your wealth with confidence, this is your space to grow, learn, and thrive. Let's get started with today's podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to introduce you to Jessica Bamber today. She's actually the founder of Bamber Consulting. So, Jessica, we're really eager to do a deep dive into your career journey and learn more about what you do and why you do what you do. So, if you could give us about a 90-second overview of what it is you do and why you got into it, that'd be awesome.
Sure. So Bamber Consulting is a marketing firm, just a small one for small businesses and nonprofits, just to bridge the gap for them of marketing and their small business. I got into this industry way back in, I won't tell you how many years ago, but in long-term care. I got into marketing and admissions back then. And through the course of my career, just felt like I needed a change and sort of got away from healthcare. And then I lost my job in October. I was laid off. So Bamber Consulting really spawned from a need, A, to work, um, because I've always worked,
Mhm.
and B, just the need to do something, and do something that was worthwhile to me and filled my heart. So I thought, what is the biggest pain point for companies? And I thought small businesses really need help, and consulted a friend who owns a nonprofit on starting a business. And she said, what are you doing? What are you thinking about doing? And so I told her my vision, and she said, well, I can use you. And I said, I need a client. So that's how it started.
That is so fabulous. And to know that you already knew somebody who could use your help. It's just we got to speak it and say this is what I'm doing and people come, right?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
that is so awesome. So you spoke about being in long-term care previously, focusing on marketing in that. So you've always been in the marketing, kind of arena. So now you're just taking that to a new customized level where you're marketing to individuals or small companies and nonprofits. So tell me, how are you now that you've got at least that one new client? Tell me how you're marketing to clients or potential clients now.
Yeah, so I have used the connections and the networking that I had established for all my prior years in long-term care. I've used that network to sort of build my client base. I started with them because we were all friends, and the particular nonprofit that hired me first, that's what her business is. It's called Aging Connections. So she brings together all the professionals that work in home health care and nursing homes and long-term care and assisted livings. And we all work together to help clients, older individuals, find the right placement and find the best fit for them. And we call it co-opetition instead of competition.
I love that. Co-op.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I'm typing that out here.
Um, so I went to them naturally and just started networking with them again and seeing if there was a need for them and picked up a couple more clients there. And then other networking groups in the city I've reached out to and picked up some different clients in different industries. And so that's been exciting. I have one in the IT space now and another nonprofit that works with early education. So
So you're
my,
getting to taste a lot of different experiences there.
yeah, yeah,
That's fun too, because you won't get bored that way. You're
yeah.
always doing marketing, but you're doing it for different industries, different products, different circumstances. So that's got to be exciting.
Yes, and writing copy for an IT company is way different than writing copy for a nursing home or, a home health agency. So, yeah.
Got it. Awesome. So I would love for you to share with us what it is that you see as the biggest problem in your industry right now and what you're doing to solve for that.
So, not necessarily in the industry, but in the niche, the small business, the biggest pain point for them is, small businesses. I'm one myself. You're so busy working in the business that you forget to work on the business. And that's what marketing is. And a lot of times people just don't know what to do. They don't know if social media is the way to go. They don't know if digital ads is the way to go. They don't know if they need to be on the radio. So, sitting down with them and really helping them figure that out and what their best plan is with the minimal dollars they have, right?
Right.
Because when
Mhm.
you're starting, you don't have a big budget. Uh, and really getting to know them and their business, then I become a friend and a trusted advisor. And, further down the line, I can suggest other things as they grow.
As
So
they
that's
continue
the,
to grow.
I just really wanted to bridge that gap for them and fill that hole.
And as a small business owner myself, I can totally relate to working in the business versus on the business. But if we don't take the time to work on the business, we won't ever have an in the business
I
opportunity.
know. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a catch 22. But, and I know too that, you know, when we're doing all the things as a solo entrepreneur, so to speak, it's hard to figure out how to prioritize where you're spending your money. But I would
Right.
imagine that marketing is one of the most important places for us as business owners to get out there and get exposure.
Right. Yeah. I really just want to take that stress off of them, and just run with it and hope to make a little bit of money off of it.
Well, that's good. And you're putting good out in the world, and I'm confident that good will come back to you as a result. So it's interesting how the world works that way.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about what makes you unique in the way you're working with folks versus the next person that does what you do.
Sort of what I touched on before, I always say to people, I make friends easily. And so once I'm your friend and you trust me, it's easy then for me to say to you, I don't think this is going to work versus I think this would be a better move for you.
Mhm.
And now my clients come to me with questions and suggestions and it spawns new ideas for them like flyers or brochures when they just came to me for social media. So I think being that trusted advisor and that friend to them, but still having boundaries. I've learned that throughout my career too. You have to have those boundaries. You can't be friends with everybody. Um, but you know, if I go to lunch with you, you're my friend. So
And I love that. I love that attitude because we're always selling something. Always get tickled when I'm talking with women. They go, "Oh, I can't sell anything." We sell something every single day of our lives, right? What are we having for
right,
dinner? Where do you want to go? What movie do you want to watch? But I think that we sometimes just kind of get in our own way. But the thing that resonates with me about you is that you're looking at relationship building as a natural thing. You're not out there having to go, I'm going to network with these people and I'm going to, get to know them. You're just like, I'm just a natural connector and I'm going to sit with you and you're probably going to like me. And that's a good place to be.
yeah. Yeah. It's so funny after I gained that first client, I kind of had a period where I was still really trying that was my focus was to get more clients. And four came on board in like 1 month. And I said to my husband, like, well, I did what I know how to do is sell. I sold myself basically. And now I got to do the work, now I got to sit down and like focus. So
That's
that
right.
was, yeah.
Well, and that's, I know as any business owner, your hope is that you outgrow. You don't have enough time to do all the work, so you have to start hiring other people like you to do it. So
Right.
that's
Right. People keep telling me that's coming and I just can't see it yet, but
right. Oh, you will, my friend. There's absolutely no doubt. So I
oh,
would love to know, where do you see the industry going over the next 5 to 10 years, and what are you doing in any way to stay on top of industry trends, that type of thing?
yeah. So I think, everyone's so afraid of AI and everybody becoming robotic, and our verbiage becoming robotic and our copy. Um, but I think it's a great tool to spawn creativity. Um, and then out of that, you have to remain authentic and consistent. That's what I see the trend is. Everybody is looking for authenticity now. They want the story behind. You opened this with you wanted my story.
Right.
So,
Mhm.
we want to know the why behind everything, and people love to learn that through story,
Yeah.
an authentic story.
Right, right, right. And that's the thing. And I have to share this with you. I actually used AI to answer a question that a journalist was posing, and it basically wrote an article. And I said, "That sounds like AI." And I said, "Okay, redo that, but let's do it in my voice." And
Hmm.
I've done enough with it that it knows my tone, it knows my compassion and my
Yeah,
personality and all. But it still came back still AI. I still have
yeah,
to put my own stuff into it, right?
right. Absolutely. Yes,
Mm. But it is, I mean, it did give me a lot of great ideas that I didn't have to come up with on my own. So it was a huge time saver.
yes,
So
yes.
you're educating people on how to use it effectively and not trying to just replace themselves with it. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. And it can sound rehearsed or robotic, and I always advise people, use it for ideas, but don't use it for straight content or straight copy,
Hmm.
because it does take from the internet, and you could be copywriting.
Plagiarism.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's what we
exactly, that's
need.
the word.
We don't need to be plagiarizing as we go through life. There's no doubt.
Yeah, we don't need to be sued, no.
No, no, especially as a small business owner. So let's flip gears a little bit. I'm going to get you to share with me the biggest challenge. I used to say failure, but I think challenge is the more appropriate word that you've faced to this point in your life, either personally or professionally, and how that's shaped the way you're doing business today, Jessica.
uh wow, this I wasn't prepared for this question. This is a good one. Setting boundaries. I was a leader for many years in the nursing home industry. I traveled all over the state and, coached, and we were called consultants, but consulted with nursing homes in our company, and with those specific marketers and admissions directors on how to grow census and get people in the building. Um, and because I make friends so easily, those lines were blurred quite often.
Mhm.
So when you had to, bring up disciplinary action, or, you know, teach somebody something new, or have a hard conversation, that was difficult. Um, so those boundaries I've learned over the years, just from age, that you have to set those clear boundaries, especially
Absolutely.
because not everyone can just be your friend all the time.
All right. And you already mentioned that in this
Mm,
conversation. So I get that that's an issue. And that's the thing too, is that knowing your personality but still having the authenticity to say, I love you, you're my friend, but I'm not available 24/7
mhm, mhm.
because so many people don't do that.
Right.
Right. So good
Exactly.
for you. And well, because we all have a life. So and we want to be everybody's friend too. I get that as well. But
Mhm.
so share with me, if you could have lunch with one person, living or deceased, who would that be and why?
I thought about this a long. I'm glad you prepped me for this question. I thought about this a lot. And I went way back into childhood, and I would think Mr. Rogers,
I love it.
because he was always telling a story in a positive way. And, you learned so many life lessons from him in a gentle way. Um, so I think it would be him.
That is so
Yeah.
awesome. And I have to ask if you've seen the movie. I don't even know how old it is now, but the movie
No.
they did on him, it's worth a watch.
Okay. I will put that on my
Definitely.
list.
Yes, it's definitely worth, because that's the thing, is that watching that movie and hearing the conversations as an adult versus being a child, now I see what I was learning all along and just didn't even realize it. So
Right.
really
Yeah.
empowering. That's awesome. Well, I would love to ask you one more specific question about your business. Is there any specific type of business that you prefer to work with? Or are you open to having conversations with any small business or nonprofit?
I'm open to having conversations with any because I like to learn, about new industries. I am the most comfortable in, with the jargon and and copy in the home health or any healthcare space, basically. Um, but yeah, I mean, the IT company, for instance, that has been a barrel of fun. But I keep like going back to him and making sure that what I'm saying is the message he wants to put out, right? Because
Got it.
I don't know what I don't know. So it's fun, to learn new industries. I've had conversations with comedy clubs, maybe promoting them. That would be super fun. I've had conversations with heating and cooling companies. So yeah, I'm open.
And
Yeah.
that's a very diverse clientele, and I love it. And
Yeah.
just to share this with you, my spouse, he worked for years and years for a trucking company. He actually leased trucks, the big
Uh-huh.
tractor trailers that you see on the road. But that was what was fascinating about his job, is he was doing basically the same thing with whomever, but he had people from Saks Fifth Avenue to chicken haulers, you know.
Yeah.
So he was
Yeah.
exposed to a lot, just like you are. So that's, I think that's a wonderful thing. Well, I want to thank you for being a guest on the podcast today. Please share with our audience how they can find you if they're interested in learning more about you and possibly even meeting with you.
Yeah. So I have a website. It's bamberconsulting.com. I spell my last name B as in boy, Amber. And I have you can reach out to me via email at jessica@bamberconsulting.com. And all of that is on the website as well. And I have LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. So
Yeah, and I
you can find me
encourage,
anywhere.
yeah, I was going to say, I encourage everybody to go like somebody and follow them wherever they are, because that's where you get the most bang for your buck. So I
Yeah.
encourage you to do that as well. So awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for being a guest today. We'll go ahead and wrap up now.
Thank you for having me.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Have
Yeah.
you done a podcast before?
I have
Okay.
in the healthcare space. I've done
Okay.
it for sure.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love
Awesome.
podcasting. I think I have a voice for podcasts.
You do, and you've got a very natural personality too. That's what
Oh.
I get, the fact that you can easily make friends with anybody. So I want to shift this just a second to make it about me, only
Uh-huh.
because you're talking about the long-term care stuff, and I've got a tool that's blowing my mind. So I wanted to ask you your opinion on how I might promote the use of this tool within the long-term care communities. Now, and I'm not saying long-term care communities, but it's for long-term care insurance coverage. So
Yeah.
we have a new tool that's fairly new that actually relies on AI, where they take over 500,000 people in the US, just US right now, that are similar to each of us. So we give them our demographics, our health situation, our age, all of the things. And the analysis goes through and compares us, whoever's inputting the information, to 500,000 other people. And it comes back and tells us that this is the probability that you will need long-term care. And not only of the likelihood of you needing it, but when you would need it and for how long. It's
Wow.
freaking scary.
Yeah, it is.
But and I will tell you, I had one client, to show you how powerful it is, because I do put people in long-term care policies. Whether
Hmm.
they're traditional, I'm using more of the hybrid, like life insurance or annuity products now. So it's not if you don't ever use long-term care, you lose it all. So there are
Right.
some options. But the thing that's been really fascinating is that I've got one client. She's been in long-term care, that I put her in long-term care insurance policy for going on 15 years. and every single year her premium has gone up because they underpriced it in the beginning. They didn't know
Hmm.
people were going to live as long and all of that. So now, and almost once a year we'll have the conversation on whether or not she needs to do something differently. So right before I got access to this tool, Jessica, she said, Donna, I just don't know if I need to cut this back or, decrease my coverage or quit paying for it altogether or whatever. And I said, oh my gosh, okay, no, it's not an if you're going to need it, it's a when you need it. And I believe that. But the problem with what she had was that if she didn't use it, if she just woke up or didn't wake up tomorrow, that's, $80,000, $90,000 that she spent over the last few years that she doesn't get any benefit from. So
Right.
I asked her if she would do this analysis with me. And honest to goodness, she came back and said, the insurance coverage that I have is only going to cover this much. And you're saying I'm going to need that much. It was eye opening. So we did make one adjustment. We took the cost of living increase off of her benefit. So, if it was $200 a day, it's going to be $200 today, whether it's tomorrow or 15 years from now. She doesn't get that increase. But she stopped that, which is going to help reduce the increase in premiums over time. But we then bought an annuity. We just took a bucket of money that she already had invested and we earmarked it into this new product. It's an annuity that says,
Hmm.
if when you need it, here's the money. And from day one, let's say she put in 100,000, it's tripled in value from day one.
Wow.
Is that not, that's cuckoo. So it's the cat's meow, and I have the opportunity to position that for people where they're not so scared about spending money on something that's going to be so valuable to them over time. And would love your ideas about, who I might be reaching out to offer that as a service, or I don't know. And we don't have to take time to do this now, but I did want to go ahead and say that's a challenge that I have right now. Of course, I'm talking to all my clients about it, but I'd really like to be able to offer it to, you know, a broader audience.
Yeah. It's so tricky because I mean, you need to get in on it when you're young.
Right.
Grr.
Yeah. The younger,
I don't have any, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but we don't want to think about that either.
Right, right, right. Let me play
And this,
devil's advocate. How old are you?
I'm 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to be a guinea pig for me?
Sure.
Okay. And you're not making a commitment to buying anything, but I will have to get a little bit of personal information from you. And you're not going to give it to me. You're going to give it to the system, and then I get the report.
Okay.
But I think if I could walk you through it, you can see how it works. But yeah, so this is I think that what you were getting ready to say before I interrupted you and say, "Oh, she needs it. She just doesn't know it yet," is the how can I effectively market it to the right people that would be willing to take action? And because
Right.
you can't just go to the long-term care facilities and say, hey, you need to be recommending that, because by then people are coming
It's
to
too
you.
late.
Right. It's
Yeah.
way too late. So
Yeah.
yeah. But if you don't mind, we could do that, just go through that process, and it'll show you, what the potential costs would be. Now, to make it really effective, I'm trying to think here because I don't have the form in front of me. I would need to have a general idea of what you have in the way of investments or savings. So, what do you have in brokerage accounts and savings accounts,
Yeah.
available to you versus what you have in retirement accounts? Those are the two numbers. If I know what you have now, that's where we would look and say, okay, if we discover that there is a high probability of you needing the coverage, we could actually look at effective and tax efficient ways to pull money from something that you already have, if it makes sense. So that's the only thing that I would need. So give that some thought. And why don't I do this? I can email you and just tell you those little bullet points that would be helpful to me: date of birth, address, all of that stuff. And there, when you get the application or the form to fill in, it's going to ask you medical stuff, and that's what I won't see. So you don't have to worry about
Okay.
privacy on that.
Yeah.
but I will need the financial information, and then we'll just schedule a time. I'm gonna call you, and I'm gonna say I've got the results. Let's hop on a 15-minute call.
Your life expectancy is.
It's true. It's true, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But if you don't mind taking a little bit of time to do that with me, that'd be good practice for me, and you get to see, how the tool works, and maybe that would better position you to offer it to somebody in your old network.
Yeah, well, and I think it'd be fascinating. It'd be not like a testimonial for you, but a true case study, even
Right.
that you could use, So I think too, like your target could probably be elder law attorneys
Hmm.
because they're, you know, doing powers of attorney and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. And I'm working with some estate planning attorneys, but not specifically in the elder law. So yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
But estate planning too is,
Mhm.
you know, they're sometimes they do both, they're in the same vein.
Right. Okay. Well, I like the idea of being able to use you as a case study as well, just to say, um,
A 50-year-old white female.
right, with decent health and a good personality, right? Oh, I love it.
Positive attitude gets you farther in life
Uh, it
than a good
definitely
health.
does. It makes a difference. Well, one last thing I'm going to tell you about, and I don't know what you're doing this afternoon, but at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, I'm actually doing a workshop, and it's on outsmarting the IRS. And it's going to be a good conversation. I don't think I have a huge group coming, but we're doing it virtually. But what we're going to be talking about is how people our age have literally built ourselves a tax time bomb by putting all of this money into 401ks, and how
Hmm.
we're literally going to have to pay a ton of taxes, over time as we're pulling that money out. But we're going to be talking about strategies that you can put in place to help alleviate that while you're younger versus waiting until you're already retired. And now you're going, oh my God, it's going to do what?
Yeah.
Because it impact, when you start taking out distributions, it impacts how much you're paying in taxes on your Social Security. It might impact your IRMA, premium, that IRMA cliff kind of thing, and the premiums that you're paying for Medicare. So, but we're having a conversation about that. If you want me to send you the link, but it'll be 5:30 to 6:30 Central Standard Time today.
Will it be recorded?
Um, I I will tell you that it will be recorded for social media purposes, but I can share it with you. I'll be
Yeah,
happy to share it with you.
that would be great.
Okay. I have to figure out how to do that, but I will. Okay.
Take your time.
Okay.
Um, I'm trying to think too, like, so I'm just noodling about the long-term policies. There's got to be a avenue you can explore because Medicaid is,
I know.
the state that we're in with that. And
Mhm.
who knows if Medicare is going to get pulled. People rely on that for long-term care.
Absolutely. And if that dwindles, then what?
We're going to have I've always said this throughout my whole career. Like Medicaid was set up so we didn't have a million elderly homeless people,
Right.
but that's really where we're going. We're going to have a
Mhm.
million
Mhm.
homeless elderly people that should
Mhm.
be in a nursing home and
Can't
there's
afford it.
nothing,
Right.
there's no funding for them. Yeah.
Mm, mm.
That's
That's a
what's going to happen.
nice. That's really depressing, but that's why we need to be talking about it. So, well,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you letting me take some of your time here to
Yeah.
just kind of brainstorm on that. That's really helpful to me. So, what's your email? I will. I'm going to send you the list of the questions. Just the general information that I'll need. But then my assistant Sarah will send you the link for. It's called the Water Lily Report. So
Okay.
that's what you'll see coming from her. But all you do is it won't take you 5 minutes probably, and once you submit it, I'll get the report back, and then I'll call and or email you just to say, hey, when can we carve out a few minutes to chat?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Nope. You've done enough. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
Awesome.
for Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and know that once they get the podcast recorded, all the pretties up and everything, they'll email it to you, and then you're welcome to share it on all your social media, wherever you want to. Just be sure to tag me, and then we can kind of cross pollinate you. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Bye
Thank you.
bye.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Bye.
I hope today's conversation left you feeling inspired, informed, and ready to take the next step in your financial journey. Remember, building wealth isn't just about money, it's also about creating a life that aligns with your goals and values. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with the women in your life who deserve financial empowerment too. Until next time, stay confident, stay empowered, and keep building the life you desire.